Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Gold Rush exclusive. Miner Rick Ness is pushing his luck to the limit. On Friday's latest edition of Gold Rush for Discovery, the mid-season hump is here as the tail of the scale is what all eyes are watching, and miner Rick Ness is acutely aware that he cannot have a bust season. In TV show's Ace exclusive preview, we are halfway through the mining season as Rick Ness is pushing his operation to the edge. Ness is working out in the field and talks about the task ahead of him. That's pretty scary. I've never done anything like it. There's so much dirt that has to be moved here. If we move the wrong dirt and go all the way down in the wrong spot, I'm gonna go broke. He adds, it's gonna cost pretty much everything I have. So the stakes here are massive, but the payoff at the bottom could be life-changing. Rick Ness in the Gold Rush mid-season situation so far. The Discovery series features Rick Ness at the top of the latest episode, but let's discuss where we left off last week. Mud Mountain for Parker Schnibble is turning into a $1 million money pit as Big Red and Slucifer are cranking. Parker takes a chance shutting down a working wash plant, and, despite the grousing from Chris Dummett and Mitch Blaschke and the skeleton crew, left on Big Red. Tyson took 5 workers to Mud Mountain, including Tatiana Costa. In the end, he cleared 316.75 ounces for the week. Parker has 85 ounces for the season so far. Meanwhile, Fred Lewis has issues, notably within his veteran ranks. Fred needs to cover his costs and pay them all. Stuart McKenzie, especially son Christopher Parker and Fred's wife Cara Lewis, are bickering and having major communications issues. Fred sends Christopher to attitude adjustment boot camp with Tony Beats. Every kid should be forced to do a tour of duty with Beats. This country would be better for it. He ended the last episode with near 18 ounces of gold for the season. And Ness and crew at Duncan Creek are still struggling to get the gold, but will he make the 2,000-ounce goal? So far, he's under 600 ounces at the halfway mark, and he's sweating bullets. The bacon strip pay is mined out, and his go-to crew, Chris Cruz and Brennan Rualt, hope he has a solid plan that will reveal itself in this latest episode. Will the deep cut, the bait of his last season, actually have some gold in the pay? Last week, Rick cleared near 127 ounces of gold, so his hunches paid off. He is at 687 ounces, give or take, going into this episode. Watch our exclusive preview to see where Ness's head is at this week. The sun rose over the rugged terrain of the Klondike, casting long shadows across the landscape. The air was crisp, filled with the earthy scent of pine and the faint metallic tang of gold. Rick Ness, a seasoned miner and an indomitable spirit, stood at the edge of his claim, surveying the land that had both cursed and blessed him in equal measure. This season, he knew, was going to be different. He could feel it in his bones. Rick had always been a man who thrived on challenges. From his days as a football player to his career in mining, he had never shied away from pushing his limits. The goldfields of the Klondike were no different. They were a place where fortunes could be made or lost in the blink of an eye, where the line between success and failure was as thin as a nugget of gold. But Rick had always had a knack for finding that line and walking it with confidence. As he stood there, his mind wandered back to the early days of his mining career. He'd have been a greenhorn, fresh-faced and full of ambition, working under the legendary Parker Schnibble. Those years had been tough, filled with long hours, back-breaking labor, and the constant pressure to produce results. But they had also been formative, teaching him the skills and resilience needed to survive in the unforgiving world of gold mining. This season, Rick was determined to take his operation to the next level. He had invested heavily in new equipment, hired a crew of experienced miners, and staked a claim on one of the richest plots of land he had ever seen. The potential for a big payout was there, but so were the risks. The cost of failure was high, and the margin for error was slim. Rick's crew was a motley bunch, each member bringing their unique set of skills and quirks to the table. There was Big Mike, a burly giant of a man with a heart of gold and hands that could crush rocks. Jenny, the sharp-witted mechanic, could fix anything with an engine and had an uncanny ability to find humor in the most dire situations. Then there was Tony, the veteran miner with decades of experience and a wealth of stories that kept the crew entertained during long shifts. Together, they formed a tight-knit team, bonded by the shared pursuit of a common goal. But the pressure of the season was already starting to show. Equipment breakdowns, weather delays, and the ever-present threat of running out of pay dirt were constant challenges. Rick knew that his leadership would be tested like never before. One particularly tough day found Rick and his crew struggling to keep a crucial piece of machinery running. The trommel, a massive rotating drum used to separate gold from gravel, had broken down yet again. Time was slipping away, and every minute of downtime meant lost gold. Frustration was mounting, tempers were flaring, and the weight of the season's expectations hung heavy in the air. Rick took a deep breath, pushing aside his own frustrations. He knew that his crew looked to him for guidance and that he needed to keep a cool head. "All right, everyone," he called out, his voice steady despite the chaos. "Let's take a break, clear our heads, and come back with a plan. We can fix this." As they gathered around the fire, sharing stories and laughter, the tension began to ease. Rick knew that this was the essence of mining, not just the relentless pursuit of gold, but the camaraderie and resilience that came with it. It was in these moments of adversity that true character was revealed. The break did wonders for the crew's morale. With renewed determination, they tackled the problem head-on, working together to get the trommel back up and running. The sound of the machinery roaring to life was like music to their ears, and the sight of gold-laden pay dirt flowing through the sluice boxes was a reminder of why they were there. But Rick knew that this was just one battle in a long war. The season was far from over, and there would be many more challenges to come. The weather could turn in an instant, transforming the land into a treacherous quagmire. Equipment could fail, forcing them to scramble for solutions. And always, there was the possibility that the gold would simply run out, leaving them with nothing to show for their efforts. Yet, in spite of it all, Rick remained undaunted. He had always been a gambler at heart, willing to take risks in the pursuit of something greater. The thrill of the chase, the promise of untold riches, and the satisfaction of hard-won success were what drove him forward. He knew that the odds were stacked against him, but he also knew that he had the grit and determination to defy them. As the season progressed, Rick's gamble began to pay off. The crew hit a rich vein of gold, and the pay dirt flowed like never before. Spirits were high, and the dream of striking it rich seemed within reach. But Rick never let himself get too comfortable. He knew that the Klondike had a way of humbling even the most seasoned miners.